Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Mephobe from Hackforms here, and today I will show you how to use Limitless Logger. What the logger is, it is a monitoring program that will help you monitor the keystrokes on a certain computer and send it to either a web panel or your email. So first, I want to show you the news feed. This is where you'll get all your news for the thing, and if I have any problems or I did something new, I'll post it up here. And you click each link, and it'll show it in the text box. Next, you can click update, and that will tell you if you have the latest update or if you need to update. It'll also auto update when you run the program, so you don't need to click this every time. Next is the account info, and this will just show you your basic account info, how many days you have left, your username, license type, and product version. And there's the credits, which will show everyone who has helped me out with this logger. I'm the main developer, Mava Martin, helped me out with the theme. It's a great theme. The panel dev was some white guy. He helped me do the whole web panel, and I'm soon to add a search function in, an Aeon hack for the license panel that I use. Next, if you want to build a keylogger, this will log all the keystrokes and send it to either your web panel or your email. This you can change between, you can activate either one. So if you activate the PHP panel, it'll only send to your web panel. So you'd enter username, and for the send interval, this is the time in between each log sent. Like once the person runs the logger on their computer, it'll wait your set amount of time, let's say 30 minutes, and then it'll send the first log. And then it'll wait another 30 minutes and send the next log, and so forth. And before compiling the logger, I always suggest to use the test info, and once you test it and it's working, you can compile. If you want to use email, it's the same exact thing basically, except you enter your email, your password, and the SMTP server. This is a little difficult, not really. I suggest using Gmail, but if you have another one, I suggest you Google the SMTP server. But yeah. And the send interval is the same idea as the panel one. It sends the first interval, or it sends the first log after this set amount of time, and the second log after that amount, blah, blah, blah. And always test it to see if your email is working. If not, I suggest creating a fresh new email. Next, the keystroke tab. In this tab, you can choose whether you want to record all keystrokes typed or only certain ones from certain windows. Right now, if you have all keystrokes typed, it'll record all keystrokes from all windows, whatever they type in, and then send it to your email or panel. If you have record custom keystroke set, it'll only record custom ones. Like see on the bottom, it says examples. If you do like RuneScape, it'll record any window that has the word RuneScape in the title. Or if you want, and then you just click add it. And if you want to do like Notepad or something, or PayPal or anything you want, it's not limited to these. You could do anything you really want. Just use one of these or make your own. In the recovery tab, this is where you can recover your passwords from browsers and games and whatnot. They all work right now except for Firefox, which I still need to implement. I'm having a hard time with it, but I think I can get through with it. The next tab is the RuneScape Other Games tab, and this one you can recover the saved passwords file. Unfortunately, there's no decryption for any of these except for Minecraft, but you can still get their bank pin out of it. And these do not work with the panel because it sends a file to the panel and it cannot accept it. The other ones are pretty straightforward, just save or recovers all the passwords and whatnot. In the first options tab, there's disables and more. If you click any of the disables, it will disable that function on the computer when they run it. So if they disable Task Manager, when they try to open Task Manager, you can't open it. Same thing for the other ones. For Steam login it deletes the file that saves the username and password, so every time they open Steam, they will need to retype all their passwords in. So that way you can log their username and it'll be sent to your panel or email. The Steel Clipboard one is pretty straightforward, and when the log is sent, it'll take whatever's on their clipboard at that moment and send it with the log. Now, delay execution, that is a pretty simple one, and it's actually pretty useful if you like try to bypass a lot of AVs. And what you want to do is, what it does is whenever you run the logger, it will delay and will not run any functions for this set amount of time. Next is melt, and melt, I'm not sure I really suggest, but you can use it if you want. This will delete the logger from where they ran the file and move it to a directory like an app data or roaming or the temp folder. that you can use for stealth, and you want to keep it on their person's computer, I guess. One option that I really recommend is send run confirmation email. This is whenever they run the logger, it'll automatically send an email or a panel message to your panel saying that they ran it. This is so you can keep track of how many people you've infected. The site visitor is pretty straightforward. It right when you run the logger, it'll open a website that they can just go to. The download one is also pretty straightforward. You enter a direct link to the file. If you do not enter a direct link and it's not an exe, it will not work properly. But you'd activate it, and you can test it out too to see if it's working. This is not working because it's not an actual link. For fake message, also pretty straightforward. It'll whenever you run the logger, it'll show a fake message with whatever title you want or whatever body you want. Like, say if I were to test this with a warning icon, I could test it, and a warning icon would show up. Stop icon test, that would show up. All right. In the second options tab, this is where you can change the assembly options. You don't need this. It's not completely recommended or not recommended. Doesn't really matter. You could always click random if you want, but people might think it's suspicious. So using legit assemblies, but don't copy like Microsoft or something, because then some AVs might pick it up. The next is a startup editor. This is essential if you want the logger to keep running even after they restart the computer. If they end the process, it won't. If you don't have this enabled and they end the process, you will not get any logs after that. If you have this enabled and they end the process, the next time they restart, the logger will start up again and you will receive keystrokes. The next is clear browser cookies and logins. In this one, it will basically do what it says. It clears the cookies and logins for each of these, so then they have to retype all their passwords in. In the compile tab, the mutex, which some people don't know, prevents it from running more than once on the person's system. This makes sure that you don't get multiple logs and you don't get duplicates, and just prevent CPU usage and whatnot. The do not keylog only steal option, only do this if you're looking to only steal the stuff from the recoveries tab. If you want to actually log their computer, do not check this. The next option is send screenshots with keylogs. This is good if you want to see what they're doing on their computer, what the computer looks like. But I will be clearing all screenshots every 3 to 5 days probably to prevent crashing on the server. So this is optional. You don't need to use it. The spreaders tab is pretty straightforward. It helps you spread your server, but right now only Skype is working. And for the Skype one, you enter messages and it'll send it to all their friends on their friends list. And then you can just simply compile and spread the logger. In the help tab, I don't know why it's not showing anything, but it'll normally show just like little guides on how to work the logger and what each function does, basically what I'm explaining to you, but less in depth, I guess. All right. Next, we can move on to the PinLogger. When you click the PinLogger, you get a notification box, and it'll ask you if you want to use the rat PinLogger or the email one. In the rat one, if you click yes, it'll open the rat one, and this one will not send anything to your email. In this one, it records a GIF or a video, you could describe it as, and it'll save it to their desktop. And on this, I have a guide on how to receive the file, but you need a rat to retrieve it, because you gotta use the file transfer in the rat to get it. So let's look at the rat one first. This one's really easy. Here's a little guide I made, and then agree and build, and it'll just build it. The next one is the email PinLogger, and this one is kind of like the Keylogger, but you enter your information, run confirmation, startup, agree term service, basically all the same, except this one will take pictures of their bank whenever they click each pin, so you're going to have to use process of elimination on each picture to determine which they clicked. In the file binder, this will allow you to bind two files together. It can be any file type, but this will also increase detectivity, I guess you could call it. It'll make it less FUD. Now I have the Crypter. This is a new option, and this will basically make it 1 out of 37, only detected by Avira, so that's good. So you'd browse your file, and in this I have protect process. And the only way to end it is if you have admin rights in Task Manager. So if you want to end the process and you had this checked, run Task Manager as admin and then close it. Next is a scanner. I do not scan on VirusTotal or No Virus Thanks or Jotty. The only recommended ones are multiscanner.org, elementscanner.net, or scanforyou.net. And this actually uses scanforyou.net's API, so you can just use this and you have unlimited scans, so it's free. So I suggest you use this, and it'll give you the BB code for forums, and it'll give you the scan link, and the detection. You can scan more than one file and whatnot. It's pretty simple. The toolbox, pretty straightforward also. You just click and load the file that you've compiled, and you can change the icon or the file pumper. Or you can can't change the file pumper. You can add bytes to the file to make it larger. The system cure, this is only used if you infect yourself and you know the name of the exe and you know the name of the startup. And then you can click cure and it'll remove all the infections on your computer. Just for this keylogger, nothing else. Same thing goes for the wrap PinLogger and the non-wrap PinLogger. The disables, if you clicked any of the disable options in the disables and more group box in the logger, this will enable everything. So if you accidentally disable Task Manager, just click this button and it will enable it and everything will be fixed. And a restart's usually helpful after you use the enable everything button. Alright, and that's my logger. Up here it says Cloud Stub online. If it's offline, you will not be able to compile the server. Normally, if it says it's offline, it means that your firewall or your antivirus or something is still blocking it because it's normally online. Only if it's offline and I did not give any news that it's offline, it's probably on your side. So just contact me and I'll try helping as much as possible. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching and enjoy the logger.